Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You're now tuning into the one and only B-Rad Show, and I'm your host, the M to the J to the U. Okay, so today's topic is going to be very interesting. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys like it. Of course, you can tell from the title. Today's topic is we're going to be talking about which franchise, which slasher, which horror, suspense, good horror, suspense, thriller. What good franchise was better between the Scream franchise and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer franchise? For all of you guys that don't know, these two franchises, these two sagas were very huge and big and dominated in the late 90s on into the early 2000s. These franchises were no other when it came to horror, suspense, thriller, no other franchises were competing with these two franchises. So before we even get started into this, so we can properly decipher the difference between, or decipher which one was the best, I want you guys to spam in the comments early and let me know what franchise do you think wins the battle? What franchise do you think wins the versus battle? What franchise you think outdid the other? Was it the Scream franchise, or was it I Still Know What You Did Last Summer franchise? Which franchise were you more of a fan of? The I Still Know What You Did Last Summer or the Scream? Let me know. Spam in the comments, okay? Also, I want to let you guys know that this episode is also available on my podcast on Anchor. All you gotta do is type in the Bradford Files on any major podcast platform. Type in the Bradford Files, and you should be able to find my podcast. I'll also leave a link in the description to let you guys, so you can go straight to the episode that's available on the audio version. Okay, so if you're on the go and you're not actually able to sit in and watch this episode. But anyways, I don't want to be rambling on too long, so let's get into it heavy. We're talking about the Scream franchise. We're talking about the I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Both franchises, hell of a job. They were both amazing. The Scream franchise came out first. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Scream franchise came out first, though. The Scream franchise came out December 20th, 1996, I believe. Yes, December 20th, 1996. That's when the first film of the Scream saga, that's when it first appeared to the screens on December 20th, 1996. And may I add, it was a hell of a movie. It was a hell of a movie. Until this day, even till this day, I still say that the first Scream movie is my favorite Scream movie out of all of them. All of them. The first Scream film is still, to me, the best film, okay? But of course, we haven't yet been able to see the new sequel that'll be coming out in January 2022. But we'll have to wait to see. But still, until this day, the first Scream film is my favorite Scream film of all time, still, regardless, on point, okay? And that's just the way it is, flat out. Now, I love me some Neve Campbell. But I also love me some Jennifer Love Hewitt. Okay? These two actresses are amazing. They are both legendary. They are both bangers, okay? They are both A-listers for sure, for definitely, okay? So, when we're talking about the Scream versus I Still Know What You Did Last Summer franchise, it's important that we properly decipher certain things so we can properly determine which franchise wins this battle. Now, before I even go in, I'm going to let you guys know. I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes to go ahead and think to yourself a little bit before you go, and let me go ahead and review a couple of things. Just give me a few seconds. Okay, I'm back. Back in effect. Scream franchise, dominant franchise. Neve Campbell, hell of a job. Co-host, David Arquette, hell of a job. Secondary co-host, Courtney Cox, hell of a job, okay? These three main characters did a hell of a job with this franchise, okay? And they made this franchise continue to be relevant and continue to be as big as it is right now. And I think those three characters did a hell of a job. Okay? The Scream franchise revolved around Mrs. Sidney Prescott, and her uncovering some things regarding her parents' background, but then also the storyline between her and one of the villains, her boyfriend, which turned out to be her boyfriend, Billy. Okay? And may I add, the actor that played Billy, he did a hell of a job as well, and he's also a banger as well. He's a banger, okay? He's been in a lot of films, many films, and he's done a hell of a job, okay? Hell of a job. So we're not gonna leave out the villains. Mr. Matthew Lillard himself is a banger as well. We're not gonna leave him out as well because he's a banger as well. He's been in a lot of films and have done an amazing hell of a job. Every film this man has been in, he's done an amazing job. One of my favorite films of Matthew Lillard. I know a lot of you would think it's in the Scream 1, but no. It's actually the movie with the family that, y'all help me out in the comments, the family that moved into the house, and it was all like kind of weird puzzling, had all the house was all like, it was built out of a whole riddle, and then 13 ghosts or something like that? Y'all help me out, spam in the comments. I believe it was 13 ghosts though. Yeah, Matthew Lillard, hell of a job in that movie. Where the family was running around that house, and the house was haunted by all these ghosts, and it had all these different puzzling structures all around the house, and it had the sister in the film as well. I think she played the nanny. Oh yeah, I believe it was 13 ghosts. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was 13 ghosts. Yes, but Matthew Lillard did a hell of a job in that movie, okay? So we won't leave out the villains. The villains were part of the reason why the Scream franchise is what it is today. And it was an amazing job. I think that Neve Campbell had her little addition to the film, what made the film stand out, and I think it was good, especially with the horror films or suspense or thriller films, slasher films that was out during that time and throughout the 90s, in the early 90s, throughout the late 90s. The films that were out, they just didn't do it. It didn't give us what we needed. It didn't give us what we want, okay? So I know a lot of you guys understand what I'm talking about. And we're talking about in the early 90s throughout the late 90s, the actual horror, suspense, thriller, slasher films that gave us what we want were the only ones that we got to get was the ones that had been out for a while, like the Halloween saga, the Freddy Krueger saga, the Child's Play saga, certain films like that. Friday the 13th, can't forget about Friday the 13th. Those sagas were out and they were already out before the 90s. So it was good that the Scream franchise, and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, gave us it gave us something what we've been waiting for. It gave us a new vibe of that teen horror, that teen suspense, that teen thriller, that teen slasher. It was good. Now on the other side, we're talking about the Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Jennifer Love Hewitt. I mean, what can I say? Jennifer Love Hewitt I'm talking about, man, y'all just don't know, man. She is a legendary banger. Legendary. And I think that she just did a hell of a job in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer franchise with her co-host Freddie Prinze Jr. Can't forget about Sarah Michelle Gellar. I can't forget about Phillips as well. All four of them were all bangers. They were all bangers, and they did a hell of a job with that I Still Know What You Did Last Summer franchise. I believe how the structure and the story plot between the Ben Willis with the Fisherman, that was a hell of a job. So both of these series, Scream and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, were bangers, and they did a hell of a job, and they just took over. But now we're talking about what franchise was better. If you had to ask me my opinion, which franchise was better, which franchise outdid the other franchise, I would have to give the trophy to the Scream franchise, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, make sure y'all comment and tear that comment section up. Let me know, you guys know. Let me know which franchise do you think was the better franchise, or what franchise did you like more? Okay, even if it wasn't the better franchise in your opinion. But I think that Scream franchise wins this battle. We're talking about the versus battle. Now I'm going to be discussing with you guys a few things. The reason why the Scream franchise, I think, wins this versus battle. Even though I think that I Still Know What You Did Last Summer was a better franchise. Once again, I think that the I Still Know What You Did Last Summer franchise was a better franchise. But when we're talking about who wins the battle, I think that the Scream battle wins. A Scream franchise wins the battle. I know a lot of you may be like, wait a minute, MJ, I don't understand. How can you say that the Scream franchise wins the battle, but you're saying that the I Still Know What You Did Last Summer franchise was a better franchise? Well, that's what we're going to get into right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I say that the Scream franchise wins this battle is because the Scream franchise has produced more films, okay? The Scream franchise has released more films. That's number one. Number one, the Scream franchise has released more films. They're currently getting ready to drop their fifth film in 2022. Number two, the second reason is the main character. Neve Campbell appeared in every film. Once again, Neve Campbell appeared in every single Scream film. However, when we're talking about the I Still Know What You Did Last Summer franchise, Mrs. Jennifer Love Hewitt did not appear in every I Still Know What You Did Last Summer movie. Also, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer has only put out 3 films compared to Scream putting out 4 films and now about to get ready to put out a 5th film. These are the 2 major reasons why I would have to say that the Scream franchise gets this win if they gets the W when we're talking about the versus battle. But now, however, I still stand by when I say that the Still Know What You Did Last Summer franchise was a better franchise. It's because for 2 reasons. Number one is I think that the story structure of this I Still Know What You Did Last Summer franchise was better than the Scream structure. Once again, the story structure of the I Still Know What You Did Last Summer franchise, I believe, was better than the story structure of the Scream franchise. Number 2, and the most important, is that the main character, Jennifer Love Hewitt, playing Julie, was a better character, but also the actress that played Julie, Jennifer Love Hewitt, is a better actress than Neve Campbell. Now I know it's gonna probably be a lot of you that will disagree with me on this, but now I'm gonna be going into you guys and explaining to you guys why I'm saying what I'm saying. Once again, Jennifer Love Hewitt, personally, I believe that Jennifer Love Hewitt is a better overall actress than Neve Campbell. And we're talking about when it comes to the good horror, good suspense, or a good thriller film, good slasher film, there's things that has to be accounted for when we're talking about a female actress or a male actor. There's certain things, and so when we're talking about the actress, one of the main things that's important is the vocals. When we're talking about the screams, the scream. And then when we talk about the title of Scream Queen, which I will save that for another episode, but we're talking about vocals, and as far as the screams, as far as who gave us the better feeling in the mood of the whole story plot, who gave us the better mood of the movie, of their film, I still say I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Now this is just not to go throw any shade at Neve Campbell. Like I told you guys, I love me some Neve Campbell, but personally, Neve Campbell cannot hold a candlestick to Jennifer Love Hewitt. Jennifer Love Hewitt is a way more beast than Neve Campbell. But I still love me some Neve Campbell, but I love me some Jennifer Love Hewitt even more. And I still say to this day, even up to this day, Jennifer Love Hewitt is an overall better actress than Neve Campbell. Especially when it comes to scary films, horror films, suspense films, thriller films, slasher films. I'm sorry to say she's just better overall. None of you can sit here, you can try to refute it, because this is non-refutable. Non-refutable. None of you can provide any facts that can prove to me that Mrs. Neve Campbell was a better actress when it came to scary films compared to Jennifer Love Hewitt. None of you can prove any evidence that in any of the Scream films, even though the Scream saga had more films, none of you can prove that Neve Campbell has better vocals when it comes to screams than Jennifer Love Hewitt. I believe that Jennifer Love Hewitt did a better job as well in her saga franchise films compared to the Scream franchise.